Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is April 24th. Munetaka Murakami is on a heater. Giants and Dodgers drama. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? We are almost at the end of the first month of the season, and I would like to say that the 2026 picture is slowly starting to take some shape here. We're seeing which kind of players are due for their breakout years, which kind of teams and players might have a little bit of a step back or a struggle, but hey, still a long season. So anything can happen. We got a good one for you guys here today. So let's get into it with our series recap. We start going back to last weekend. Tigers and Red Sox finishing up a 4-game set. The Red Sox score 6 in the last 3 innings. They split the 4-game set with the Tigers 2 apiece, winning it 8-6. And on the other one, we got Dodgers and Rockies. They finish a 4-game set. Miggy Rojas, his first homer of the year. Max Muncy, a 2-homer game. Dalton Rushing, a 2-homer game. Dodgers and Rockies split the 4-game set 2 apiece. Dodgers 12-3. On to this week, Reds and Rays. Sal Stewart hits his 8th homer of the year to help the Reds to a 6-1 victory. Then Ellie De La Cruz hits a 2-homer game. Key Bryant Hayes, Dane Myers, Spencer Steer, all 3 of those guys also homering for Cincy in a 12-6 win. And in the last game, Junior Caminero, his 6th homer of the year, avoids the sweep as the Rays take a 6-1 victory against the Reds there. Yankees and Red Sox. Giancarlo Stanton drives in 3 and hits his 3rd homer of the season, part of a 4-0 Yankees win. Ahmed Rosario went 1 for 1 with a 3-run homer. He also picked up a sac fly, scoring all 4 of the Yankees' runs as Max Fried shoves 4-1 Yankees. And in the last game, Jazz Chisholm finally gets his first homer of the year, as did Carlos Narvaez for the Red Sox. Cam Schlittler, he was talking, he was shoving. It was 4-2 Yankees the final as they sweep the Red Sox in this series. Orioles and Royals now. Jack Caglione hits his first homer of the year. The O's tie it in the 9th. We go to extras. No score in the 10th. Both get 1 in the 11th. But in the 12th, the Orioles score 5 with the help of Leody Taveras hitting a grand slam. The Royals would get 3, but that's not enough. They dropped their 8th straight game, 7-5 to Baltimore. In the next game, Adley Rutschman hits a 2-run go-ahead homer, his first of the year. Michael Massey ties it in the 8th with his first homer of the year. Royals end up walking it off on a wild pitch from Ryan Helsley. Yes, that is how they end their 8-game losing streak, by a walk-off wild pitch, and they needed it. 6-5 Kansas City. In the match, Vinny Pasquantino, his 3rd of the year. Carter Jansen, his 6th of the year. Kyle Isbell, his 3rd of the year. But Baltimore still wins this one. Alonso hits his 3rd homer of the season. Coby Mayo hits his 2nd homer. The Orioles score 6 runs in the 6th. They win it 8-6 and take 2 of 3. Brewers and Tigers. Now the Brewers scored 7 runs in the 8th. They turned a 4-run game into an 11-run game, where they win it 12-4. Tigers, though, come back. Spencer Torkelson finally gets on the board. His first homer of the year. Kerry Carpenter hits his 5th. Tigers with a 5-2 victory. And in that match, Riley Green, his 2nd homer of the season. Down by 1, it's Jahmai Jones hitting his 2nd homer of the season. Ties this game up in the 8th. And then Spencer Torkelson hit his first career walk-off home run, his 2nd of the season in back-to-back games after not having one at all. 5-4 Tigers. They take 2 of 3 from the Brewers. Astros and Guardians now. Christian Walker, his 5th homer of the season. Isaac Paredes hits his 1st of the season, as well as his 2nd. A 2-homer game from him helps the Astros to a 9-2 win in the opener. Angel Martinez hits his 3rd homer of the season as the Guardians come back from down 2. They score 6 runs in the 8th to grab this win from the Astros, 8-5 the final. And in that last game, Yordan Alvarez hits his league-leading 11th homer of the season. It's a 2-run shot, and those are the only 2 runs of the game. Astros 2-0. They take 2 of 3 from the Guardians. Pirates and Rangers. The Rangers score 5 unanswered after going down 1 in the first, end up with a 5-1 victory. Tied up at 4 in the 9th in Game 2. The Pirates score 4, and O'Neal Cruz hits his 7th home run of the season, which hits off the top of the foul pole. Yeah, that's right, the top of the foul pole. 8-4 Pirates in that one. And in the last game, Evan Carter hits his 3rd homer of the season, which happens to be an inside of the park home run. Corey Seager hitting his 6th. O'Neal Cruz went deep again, his 8th of the season, but the Rangers hold on, win it 6-1 to take 2 of 3 from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Blue Jays and Angels now. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. picks up his 2nd homer of the season as Dylan Cease strikes out 12 halos, 5-2 Blue Jays. The Blue Jays then came back to break the tie. They scored 3 runs in 8th in this one to win it 4-2. And in that last game, Nolan Schanuel hits his 3rd of the season. Mike Trout hits his 8th. Schanuel had a big hit later in this game as well. Soriano, another great pitching performance. Angels take it 7-3 to avoid the sweep. A's and Mariners now. Cal Raleigh, his 3rd of the season. Dominic Canzone, his 3rd of the season. But the A's score 6 unanswered. Carlos Cortez, his 2nd of the season. Nick Kurtz, his 3rd, and Shea Langoliers bangs his 7th. 6-4 A's, they win Game 1. Into Game 2, Cal Raleigh does it again, his 4th of the season. Jeff McNeil, though, his 1st as a member of the Athletics, his 1st of the year. Shea Langoliers, it's number 8. A's win it 5-2, and in the last game, it's Cal Raleigh once again. He homers in back-to-back games. He's now up to 5. Nick Kurtz ties this one in the 9th with a slow shot bomb, his 4th of the year, as he hits 2 homers in this series. But with 2 outs in the 9th inning, Mariners get single, walk-off single as Josh Naylor is the hero. 5-4 Seattle. They take 2. No, they don't take 2 of 3. They drop 2 of 3, but they avoid the sweep with the walk-off win from Naylor. 5-4 to final in that one. Braves and Nats would play for Matt Olson, his 6th homer of the season. The Braves take the lead with 5 runs in the 6th. They finish it 9-4, the final in that one. In Game 2, James Wood hits his 8th homer of the season. Curtis Mead with his 3rd homer of the season. Drake Baldwin with his 6th for the Braves, and Eli White with his 1st. The Nats add 6 runs in the last 2 innings to elevate themselves to an 11-4 win to even up the series. In Game 3, Drake Baldwin does it again, his 7th homering in back-to-back games. James Wood for the Nats, he hits his 9th homering in back-to-back games, but they were not alone. Joey Weimer, his 3rd of the season. Dalen Lyle, his 3rd of the year. And for the Braves, Matt Olson hits his 7th, and Michael Harris II hits his 5th and 6th on the year. A 2-homer game from him. The Braves end up with an 8-6 win on a home run frenzy in Game 3. And in the last game, it's James Wood again. 3 in a row, his 10th now on the year. C.J. Abrams would hit his 7th, but the Braves would take the lead in the 7th. They would score 4 runs, and Ozzie Albies hits his 5th homer of the season to cap off this series. The Braves take 3 of 4 from the Nats, win that last game 7-2. Twins and Mets now. Francisco Lindor hits a 3-run homer, his 2nd of the season. The Mets trying to end this losing streak. Buxton, though, a 2-run shot in the 4th, later set by the Twins to tie it in the 7th. They end up taking the lead in the 9th on a Devin Williams implosion. The Mets lose this one. Their losing streak up to 12. They need to find a win. Buxton, he does it again. A game-tying homer in the 6th inning. His 5th homer of the season ties this game up at 2. But Mark Vientos gives the lead to the Mets with an RBI single. They just need 3 outs, and this time they'll get it. Luke Weaver finishes the game. The Mets win. The 12-game losing streak is a thing of the past. They take a 3-2 victory. And in the rematch, Brett Beatty hits his 1st of the year. Carson Bench his 2nd. The Mets had a 5-run lead at one point and watched it disappear. Tristan Gray, his 3rd homer of the season, made it a 4-run game, which set up Ryan Jeffers to hit a game-tying grand slam in the 8th. You cannot make this up. But despite that, the Mets, the bases juiced. Bo Bichette has his Mets moment. A 3-run bases clearing double. Mets win it 10-8. Take 2 of 3 from the Twins, and they've won 2 straight. How about that? Cardinals and Marlins now. Augustin Ramirez, his second homer of this season. The Marlins scored 3 unanswered for the lead, win it 5-3. In Game 2, Jacob Marcy hits his first on the year, but Nathan Church hits his second for the Cardinals, who end up with a 5-3 victory of their own. In the road match, the Marlins score 4 unanswered while holding the Cardinals just 4 hits in this game. They take it 4-1 the final, and 2 of 3 from St. Louis. Phillies and Cubs now play a 4-game series. Dansby Swanson, a 3-run homer, leads the Cubs to a 5-1 victory. In Game 2, Nico Horner hits his 4th. Seiya Suzuki finally gets his first homer of the season. Phillies would get 1 from Harper and 1 from Schwarber, his 5th and 8th respectively on the season, but the Cubs still hold on to a 7-4 victory. In the third game, Michael Busch hits his first homer of the season, and Suzuki does it again. This time he gets hot. He hits his second of the year. Cubs with a 7-2 victory, and in the last game, the Phillies looking for a win. Brandon Marsh, a 2-homer game, hitting his 3rd and 4th on the year. But here come the Cubs. Michael Busch, he goes deep again, his 2nd. Ian Happ hits his 7th homer of the season. And tied up at 6th, it's Seiya Suzuki, who goes back-to-back 3 straight games with a homer as he gets the Cubs the lead in the 8th with his 3rd of the series. But don't worry, Phillies fans, Adolis Garcia hits a pinch hit game-tying homer in the 9th, his 3rd of the year, sends this one to extras where the Cubs would walk it off on a Dansby Swanson single in the 10th. The Cubs, they've won 9 straight. The Phillies have lost 9 straight to trending teams. 8-7 Cubs, they get the 4-game sweep over the Phillies. Impressive stuff there. Padres and Rockies now. The Padres' only run in this game came on a bases-loaded walk to Machado as they win it 1-0. It's catcher's home run. Hunter Goodman, his 6th. Luis Campusano, his 2nd. The Rockies score 4 in the 2nd for an 8-3 victory, and in the road match, Mickey Moniak hits a 2-homer game for him, his 7th and 8th on the year. Xander Bogaerts hits his 4th, and Gavin Sheets is the hero. He hits a 3-run go-ahead homer to complete a 5-run 9th. As the Padres come back from down 3, they steal this one 10-8, take 2 of 3 from the Rockies. Dodgers and Giants. The Giants score 3 in the 1st and don't look back. 3-1 Giants, the final in that one. In Game 2, the only 3 runs in this one came on a 3-run home run from Patrick Bailey. His 1st of the year leads the Giants to back-to-back wins, 3-0 the final. And in the last game, the Dodgers get 3 off of Logan Webb, which was all they needed, as Tyler Glasnow shoved 3-0 Dodgers the final. Giants, though, taking 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. Very impressive there. Lastly, we have the White Sox and the D-backs. Munetaka, Murakami, Miguel Vargas, and Colson Montgomery go back-to-back in the 2nd. Alek Thomas is his 1st of the year. Ildemaro Vargas, his 3rd for the Diamondbacks. But the White Sox scored 7 in the first 2 innings and did not look back. They ended up with an 11-5 victory. In Game 2, it's 3 Vargas home runs. 1 for Miguel Vargas of the White Sox, 2 for Ildemaro Vargas from the Diamondbacks, both now at to 5 homers on the year. Arenado hit his 4th, but how about Colson Montgomery hitting his 7th on the year, his 4th straight game with a homer, and Murakami hits his 10th of the year, his 5th straight game with a homer. The White Sox, though, lose this one 11-7 to the Diamondbacks. In the last game, tied up at 1 in the 9th, it's Andrew Benintendi hitting a 3-run go-ahead home run, his 2nd of the year. 4-1 White Sox. They take 2 of 3 from your Diamondbacks for your series recap. All right, now for your game of the week, we're bringing you to New York, the Mets and the Twins. This 3rd and final game, the 12-game losing streak is a thing of the past, and the Mets are looking for another win. Top first, though, the Twins score with an Austin Martin bases-loaded walk The Mets do get out of it, though, just with the one. And in the bottom of the first, Brett Baty, a 3-run homer, his first of the year. Mets up 3-1. Bottom second, Bo Bichette strikes out, but the ball gets away. A run would come in to score. Francisco Alvarez then a sac fly, which sets up a Luis Robert Jr. double. It's 6-1 Mets. They're up 5. Top 4, Josh Bell, an RBI single. Twins get one back, but the Mets get it right back in the bottom of the 4th as Carson Benj hits his second homer of the season, his first since opening day. Mets up 7-2. Top 6, Tristan Gray, his third homer of the season. A solo shot makes it 7-3. It would stay this way until the top of the 8th with the bases juiced, and Ryan Jeffers hits his third homer of the season. Just happens to be a game-tying grand slam. 7-7, unbelievable. But in the bottom of the 8th with the bases loaded, Bo Bichette hits a 3-run double. The Mets get that lead back. It's 10-7 New York. The Twins get one in the top of the 9th on a Tristan Gray single, but that's all they would get. Devin Williams gets the win in this one. The Mets take it 10-8. The final there on a 2-game winning streak, and that would have been a heartbreaking loss after ending a 12-game losing streak had they lost that game. Let's get into the news because there are a lot of things that I want to go over and not that much time to talk about it. We're going to try to keep things short and sweet today. First and foremost, how about Munetaka, Murakami, and the Chicago White Sox? Their offense is what I had predicted from the A's offense this season. It's been fun to watch. It's exciting. You want to tune in. I've been very high on Colson Montgomery. I've spoken about that very much so. Murakami was that interesting case that nobody really knew, and he is proving everybody wrong. Remember when he signed a 2-year, $34 million deal with the White Sox? And I remember this guy from the World Baseball Classic back in 2023 thinking that this guy was going to be the next, massive power hitter. And all the stuff with the scouts and everyone was saying was, oh, he's not going to be able to hit the fastball. He's going to be striking out a ton. But when you have this much power, when you swing the bat as hard as you do, you're going to end up hitting bombs. And that is what he's been doing. I mentioned it, I think last episode or 2 episodes ago. He's ending up on our hot and colds every other week. Whether he's going, 7 for 20 with 4 homers and it's just raking, or he's going 1 for 18 with 10 Ks. He's going to be one of those hot and cold players, but right now he is hot, and by doing so, he's had such a good week. He's homered in 5 straight games, which ties an MLB rookie record for the longest streak. I believe it's also the franchise record for the Chicago White Sox. I do know for a fact that him and Colson Montgomery are the first teammates in MLB history to have 4 straight homer games on the same time period. The game on Wednesday, I believe, Murakami hit his 5th straight game with a homer, while Montgomery hit his 4th. Both of them did not homer on Thursday, but still, that has been very impressive. And Murakami has been this perfect example of, the game has become so analytically heavy where people trust these numbers more than they trust their gut. And whatever the papers say, whatever the numbers say, and where are the green, where's the red, and all this yappa, best matchups, who cares? Sometimes you have to go with your gut feeling. Murakami has set that kind of expectation for himself now, because you think about 2 years, $34 million for a guy who, is second in homers behind Alvarez with 11. He is doing it. He's doing it at the major league level. He's hitting the fastball. Everything that we said, analytics are saying no. He is saying, yeah, I've got power. Watch this. Boom, 450. Boom, 440. Boom, 432. He's hitting nukes. He's doing great stuff for the White Sox right now. And so far this season, he has 21 hits. 11 of them are singles. 10 of them are homers. He has no such thing as a double and triple in his book. He's doing absolutely insane stuff right now. And already I'm hearing conversation about, $34 million, you're bang for your bucks at the best. The White Sox should trade him at the deadline already, blah, blah, blah. Who knows what will happen, but Murakami, he's on fire right now. He's definitely a guy you want to go and see and watch his at-bats because he is Definitely a spark plug right now. Let's move on now. Giants and Dodgers got into a little bit this past week. We had the rivalries return. Red Sox played the Yankees. Giants played the Dodgers. And with the Giants and Dodgers, there was a little bit of on-field fanatics, I guess you would say. In one of the games, Dalton Rushing and Young Ho Lee, there was a play at the plate, and the Dodgers were able to get Young Ho Lee out. Rushing started to walk off the field, and the cameras caught him appearing to say the words F him, referring to Young Ho Lee, who was thrown out at the plate but was shaken up at the dish. Was helped off the field there. And it looked like he was just kind of walking off without checking in on him, and someone pointed it out, and he looked back, and then the cameras kind of caught it saying F him, whatever. The next game then on Thursday, Logan Webb makes it kind of known by hitting him in the ribs in one of his at-bats. He has a funny quote about that a little bit later on, but he takes his base, and via that, on the ball on the ground the next bat, he slides hard into Adames and was called for an automatic double play. So the umpires had ruled that Rushing slide was intentional to try to take out the fielder, in this case, Willie Adames. So it was an automatic double play. Not that the Giants needed it, because Adames still made the play out time. Regarding that, Luis Arias had comments after the game saying it's just not clean baseball. When you take a look at Logan Webb's comments, a reporter asked him, was it intentional throwing behind him because of what Rushing had said about Young Ho Lee, to which Logan Webb said that he didn't even see that, whatever they're referring to, and that he said that was just a fastball inside that got away. To my perspective, and I believe others as well, it seemed like Logan Webb was intentionally throwing that pitch. I mean, Logan Webb, we've talked about as one of the best pitchers in baseball. We know his year hasn't gotten off to the right foot that he had wanted it to be. But he's still a great pitcher, and a guy at his caliber can control a fastball. To miss that far inside where it's at the ribs, and he tried to dodge it too. Like it got him even trying to dodge it still ended up hitting him. So that's what it's just unlikely in my mind that was by accident. Rushing's comment says that this was after the game on Thursday. He quotes, "I've cleaned the air with all of that. I've made sure Young Ho is good and healthy. Whatever happened, happened." So this was the first time these two teams had played this season. Whether more of this will come later on the year, we don't know. If this is just kind of this series story and we'll move on and, the past will be the past, or will this stuff continue to come up when these two teams continue to meet throughout the season? Because they'll meet a lot throughout the season, but it was definitely enough to worth a little bit of a discussion here on the pod and talk about Rushing. I feel like Dalton Rushing's had, for a rookie and for a young guy, he's got quite the voice. He makes his feelings known, but he's playing very well for the Dodgers. He's had a great first month of the season so far, so you get to talk a little bit, but there is a level of respect that I feel like we haven't seen from him yet, and who knows if we ever will. Moving on here, just giving a shout out to some of the teams that we got going on, playing some streaky brand of baseball. The Yankees have currently won 6 straight. They're on a bit of a heater. And as we mentioned with the Cubs and Phillies in that series, the 4-game sweep helps the Cubs win 9 straight, while on the other end, the Phillies have lost 9 straight. It's really funny how he went from, the Mets have lost, 8 straight, the Mets have lost 9 straight, the Mets have lost 10, 11, 12. And as soon as they win, it's like, okay, well, now we can talk about the Phillies playing bad baseball too, because they were also playing bad baseball in the middle of the Mets playing bad baseball, but everyone was focused on the Mets because they hadn't won a game. But then since the Mets have won a game, it's like, okay, now the Phillies have lost 9 straight, and now we can all point and laugh at them. So there you go there. The Royals did end their 8-game losing streak on that walk-off wild pitch game. That was much needed. And the Rens, they were on a bit of a heater, winning 5 straight, where we're going for the sweep of the Rays to make it back-to-back sweeps in a 6-game winning streak. But they did lose that game, so a 5-game winning streak ends there. and they are good in the NL Central. The NL Central has been a beast of a division. We mentioned that briefly last episode as well. So far, between the 30 teams in baseball, only 4 have yet to get to 10 wins on the season, 2 of which being the Phillies and Royals, who are currently last in baseball. 8-17 are their records. Meanwhile, we have a new king at the top. Not longer the Dodgers after dropping 2 of 3 to the Giants. The Braves are now the best team in baseball, sitting at 18-8. And between the Braves, Padres, and Dodgers, I'd say there's a good chance come Monday's episode we'll have our first 20-win team of this season. But speaking of 10 wins and why I want to bring that up here, I want to give a special shout out to the Rockies Turnaround as well, because I saw a stat on social media that I actually had to go and Google and double check because it just didn't feel right. It didn't read right. The Rockies, over the weekend here, or the week, they won their 10th game on the season. They have been very good thus far. 10-16. They've gone on a 6-game losing streak. They've won 4 straight. They've had a nice start to the year considering last year. But I didn't realize how bad last year was because their 10th win last year came on June the 2nd. 2 months into the season it took for them to win 10 games. And yeah, for reference, as I mentioned, there's only 4 teams that haven't gotten to 10, and 2 of them, like the worst 2, are at 8 right now. So that means they'd have to go the whole month of May and the rest of April only being able to win 1 more game. That's like 30 games, which will make sense in a second here when I say the difference in games last year to this year for the Rockies was 34 games. They're 10-16. When they won their 10th game, it took them 60 games. They were 10-50. They had 4 different 8-game losing streaks, and they never won more than 2 in a row. They lost 8 in a row, won a game, then lost 8 in a row, won 2 games, then lost 8 in a row before a little win-loss before losing another 8 in a row. Rockies, you gotta feel great for them. 34 game difference so far this season. Super good for the Rockies. Very happy for them. Impressive stuff on the year thus far. Moving on here, let's get into some quick fire stuff, some things just talk about really quickly that deserve a little bit of talk. The Padres, they signed Lucas Giolito to a $3 million deal that is prorated since we are in a month into the season already. Lucas Giolito was one of those head scratches of why wasn't he signed, because he was pretty good after dealing with a really tough 2023 campaign followed by a 2024 where he did not play with injury. Then 2025, it was his big return year, and with Boston went 10-4 in 26 starts with a 3.41 ERA, picked up 2.1 WAR, which was pretty impressive and kind of his best year since like 2021 with the White Sox. He still has never been able to tap into that form that he had with Chicago back in like 2019 and 20 and 21. Really, that 3-year gap was his best years of his career so far. But he's only going to be 31 years old. There's still a lot left in the tank, and you thought he was definitely fine to deal somewhere. Now ends up on a 3-year deal with the Padres, or not 3-year deal, sorry, a $3 million deal with the Padres, and I think he's going to pitch very well for them this year, and he's going to earn himself a proper contract that I believe Lucas Giolito so deservingly deserves. Meanwhile, the Phillies are saying goodbye to a contract as they released Taijuan Walker. The Phillies said no more of you. On Wednesday's game, he pitched 4 innings, giving up 4 earned runs. His ERA is now up to 9.13. He's 1-4 on the season throughout the 5 games, 22 2/3 innings, 23 earned runs. It is the lead in the major league. No other pitcher's given up more than those 23 earned runs. He's got one All-Star year in 2021 with the Mets. He signed a nice deal with the Phillies after that, after pitching a couple nice years with the Mets. But this contract with Philly just wasn't great. In the 4 years he spent, well, basically three years and the week here in 2025 here, the 5 starts that he made. In 89 games, he's pitched to a 5.12 ERA, 24 and 25 win-loss record, 402 innings, giving up 229 earned runs. Not a great deal when you look back at it, and the Phillies are going to say, let's just pay it out, and you can get gone. Thank you very much. So that is what's going on there with Walker and the Phillies. Last thing to note, the Yankees have been talking about a new uniform, kind of. Their navy blue uniform. They want to wear it for games, the players do. And the news is kind of making this a bigger deal than it is, but it's the whole historian thing, but they have changed policies, but also the Yankees need to win games and they need to win World Series. Why are they talking about wearing uniforms? Because the Yankees have always just worn their pinstripes for home and then their gray jerseys on the road. And that's why they don't have a City Connect, but they want to wear their navy blue ones they wear to batting practice sometimes, that they've worn in spring training, that is technically a uniform that they have, but they haven't worn, and we don't know if they're going to wear it in a game or not, but they're asking about it and talking about it. So yeah, there's that too. Anyways, I'm like, I'll mention it because I'm like, I don't know, people are talking about it, but I don't care about it. I don't think many people do, but maybe you do. Who cares? Anyways, injury updates. Let's get on with the rest of the episode here. Jonathan India from the Royals, 10-day IL, shoulder subluxation. He's going to be out for a bit. Brendan Donovan from the Mariners, 10-day IL, a strained groin. That one hurts them a little bit. Nick Allen, 10-day IL with back spasms. Raisel Iglesias on the 15-day IL with shoulder inflammation. Gives room for Robert Suarez to do some closing for the Braves. Dean Creamer from Baltimore, 15-day IL with a strained quad. Taylor Trammell on a 10-day IL with a strained groin. Astros losing more and more players. They're continuing their IL bug. Wyatt Langford on the 10-day IL with a strained forearm flexor. JT Realmuto, 10-day IL for the Phillies with back spasms. Not what they need when they've lost 9 straight. Boston will be out Sonny Gray for a bit as he ends up on the 15-day IL with a strained hamstring. The Mets are losing Francisco Lindor on the 10-day IL with a strained calf. He got this injury the same day that Soto came back from the injury, so together they only played 5 innings before Lindor had to leave that game. And from Carlos Mendoza, the Mets manager, he's saying that it looks like Lindor's injury will be much longer than what Soto's will be, who just got back, even though it is the same injury, the strained calf there. Last one being Edwin Diaz from the Dodgers, 15-day IL. Apparently he'll be getting elbow surgery. And will miss about 3 months of the season. A bit of a blow there for the Dodgers, who did spend a lot of money on him in the offseason to be the closer, and now they are without him. They do have other back-end arms there, but, Edwin Diaz is definitely one you'd like to have healthy and good to go. As we move on now, we can get into some outstanding performances from the week here. Seth Lugo, 7 innings, a hit, no runs, 4 walks, and 7 Ks. Justin Robleski's been very good for the Dodgers. 7 innings, 8 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 3 Ks. Jose Soriano continues his amazing start. His ERA is down to 0.24. 5 innings, 7 hits, no runs, no walks, 4 Ks. I believe he's the first pitcher ever with his first 5 starts to have 1 or less runs. Like, he's been on an absolute tear. Randy Vasquez from the Padres, 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 5 Ks. Max Fried, 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 9 Ks. He was brilliant. Shohei Ohtani's been pitching very well still. 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs, no walks, 7 Ks. I believe his ERA is like 0.3 something. He's been great. Tyler Mahle was really good against the Dodgers. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Nick Martinez against his former team, 8 innings, 5 hits, a run, a walk, 6 Ks. Tyler Glasnow, 8 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 9 Ks. He's been great out of the year early on here. Peyton Toley from the Red Sox, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts against the Yankees in what was his season debut over the week. Cam Schlittler, he was talking a big game with Boston fans all offseason long. He comes up and shoves 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 5 Ks. How about Jacob deGrom? Finally doing his stuff and still being one of the top arms when healthy. 5 2/3, 5 hits, a run, a walk, and 10 Ks. His season ERA is at 2.13 right now. Give deGrom some love. And a little bit of love for J.R. Ritchie as well, who made his major league debut for the Braves, pitching against the Nationals. The very first pitch he threw was a homer to James Wood, who led off that game. But from that point on, went 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, and 7 Ks. He is the first pitcher in the Braves franchise history to go over 7 innings, giving up no more than less than 2 runs while striking out 7. A little bit of a tongue twister stat, but still a very impressive start for J.R. Ritchie in his major league career here. As we'll take a look at the stat leaderboard now. Who is leading which stats now? And I'll tell you, there's one man in particular, and his name is Yordan Alvarez. He now leads in average at 347. Drake Baldwin leading in hits at 34, but Yordan is close behind him. He leads in home runs at 11, as well as RBIs at 26. Drake Baldwin, though, leads in runs at 27. Nick Kurtz is now the sole possession walk leader at 27. Jose Ramirez, new stolen base leader. He's up to 11 stolen bases on the season. Yordan Alvarez still leading in OPS, 1.245, went up from last week. Leading the league in wins, Aaron Ashby is still there. Jose Soriano is back tied with Ashby, both of them up to 5 on the season. Soriano's ERA still leads the league, 0.24. He's been brilliant. New strikeout leader, Dylan Cease. He's up to he's on pace to get like 250 something strikeouts with the Blue Jays. He's up to 44 on the year already. Good for him. And of course, Mason Miller, his streak is still going, still 0 ERA for him. He has yet to give up a run. His scoreless innings, he's up to 9 saves, leads the league there. So he's been, of course, extremely dominant and very, very good for the Padres, why they're a top 3 team in baseball. Upcoming series for the weekend. There's some great baseball to watch. The Red Sox in Baltimore taking on the O's, Twins at Rays, Guardians at Blue Jays, Nationals at White Sox, Angels at Royals, Yankees at Astros. Always fun when those two teams clash. A's at Rangers, Rockies at Mets, Phillies at Braves, who, by the way, is how the Phillies started on this big losing streak. But some good news, Philly fans. Zach Wheeler is back. He will make his season debut on Saturday. So that will be a good one. I'll be shocked if the Braves, if the Phillies get to 12-game losing streak like the Mets did. Phillies, you're going to get a win this week, believe me. Mariners are in St. Louis taking on the Cardinals. Tigers at Reds is a fun one. Pirates at Brewers. And speaking of the Brewers, they actually were pretty fun. They're the second team in MLB history to face both Cy Young winners on back-to-back days. Yesterday, they faced Tarek Skubal when the Brewers finished up their series with the Tigers. Today, they will face Paul Skeens. So not fun right now if you're a Brewers hitter, because you're facing 2 of the best in the game. The Cubs take on the Dodgers. The Marlins will take on the Giants. And the Padres and Diamondbacks will just play 2 games over the weekend, but it will not be done in either of their home ballparks because this is the Mexico City Series. Padres and Diamondbacks will be playing in that one, 2 games there. Sure to be some great baseball. We'll be talking about that on Monday. And with that, that brings us to our playoff predictor. Who do you think would be the World Series champion if the season ended today? Well, the A's are in your 6th seed, facing the Rangers in the 3 seed, while the Tigers in the 5 seed would take on the Rays in the 4 seed for your AL wildcard. The Rangers beat the A's, the Tigers beat the Rays. So the ALDS matchups, Rangers at the Guardians, who are the 2 seed, and the Tigers versus the Yankees being the 1 seed. Rangers get the win over the Guardians. Yankees would take down the Tigers. So the ALCS matchup would be your Texas Rangers and your New York Yankees, to which the Yankees will move on to the World Series. On the NL side of things, the Cardinals are your 6th seed still. They take on the Cubs in the 3 seed, while the Reds in the 5 seed would take on the Dodgers in the 4 seed. Yes, that's right. The Padres are better than the Dodgers on the record sheet. The Cubs beat the Cardinals. The Dodgers beat the Reds. So our NLDS matchups, the Cubs face off against the Padres being the 2 seed, while the Dodgers take on the Braves in the 1 seed. Cubs beat the Padres. Braves beat the Dodgers. So the NLCS matchup is your Chicago Cubs and your Atlanta Braves, to which your Chicago Cubs go on to the World Series. They're on a 9-game winning streak. The Yankees and the Cubs in the World Series, and it is your Chicago Cubs, led by PCA, Seiya Suzuki, Michael Busch, Bregman, and more, that are your 2026 World Series champions if the season ended today. They're playing a great brand of baseball. You don't want to miss it, as that will wrap up our episode here today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody so much for tuning on in to this episode. I appreciate you always. A lot of support on the last episode on the YouTube wise. So I appreciate that from all of you guys. Thank you, buddy, so much. And I will see you on Monday.